They say the countryside keeps secrets, that when the wind blows through the wheat fields, it's not always the wind you're hearing. This is the story of the Salvatierra family, and of the light that appeared one night just behind their house. The Salvatierra family lived in an old farmhouse, nearly 20 kilometers from the nearest town. Tomas, the father, worked the land just as his own father had before him. Elena, his wife, tended the garden and homeschooled their two children, Mateo, 12, and Clara, 8. The house was old but cozy. It creaked at night, like all old houses do. At least that's what they thought at first. It was Mateo who saw it first, a small white light floating in the distance among the wheat fields. "Dad, there's someone out there with a flashlight," he said. Tomas stepped out onto the porch. There was no one there, but the light remained motionless. The next day, they found no footprints, no signs of intruders. They thought it might be a neighbor, although the closest one lived 5 kilometers away. The following nights, the light returned, but something changed. Clara began to hear whispers. She couldn't understand the words. She only knew they were coming from the fields. One early morning, Elena woke up when she heard the back door open. Mateo was standing in front of the wheat field, asleep, walking toward the light. Tomas caught up to him before he disappeared into the darkness. When he woke him, the boy remembered nothing. That was the first time they truly felt afraid. Tomas decided to investigate. At dawn, he walked to the exact spot where the light appeared. There, he found something strange. The soil was softer, as if it had been disturbed years ago. He remembered a story his grandfather used to tell him as a child. Decades earlier, before the house had been built, that area had been the site of an accident. A small carriage overturned during a storm. A mother and her son died there. The land was sold shortly after. No one ever spoke of it again. That night, the light appeared closer than ever, right in front of the house, and the whispers were no longer distant. They said something clearly. "Find us." Tomas grabbed a lantern. Elena held Clara's hand. Mateo walked beside his father. They would not run. They walked to the place where the light hovered, and this time, it did not move. With shovels, they began to dig. Just a few inches down, they found old remains, a small rusted brooch, fragments of wood, and something else, a tiny medallion with the initial L. At that moment, the light intensified. The wind blew fiercely, and the whispers turned into a sigh. Then, silence. The light slowly rose and vanished. The next day, they informed the town. A small symbolic ceremony was held. The priest blessed the place. They buried the objects with respect. From that night on, the light never returned. The whispers ceased. Mateo stopped sleepwalking. Clara slept peacefully again, and the house stopped creaking. Some nights, when the wind blows gently through the wheat fields, Tomas swears he feels something different. Not fear, gratitude, as if whatever once whispered in the darkness had only needed to be found. Because not all horror stories are meant to frighten. Some only seek to rest. If you would dare to live in a house like that, leave it in the comments. And remember, if one night you see a light in the field, it may not be lost. It may be waiting for you to find it.